So I've been talking a lot to friends about the topic of having found the right person by a certain age. I mean, we're talking about like having this desire to find someone, and we're all in our 30s, 40s. Also, I've been watching a lot of How I Met Your Mother lately and Friends and all these kind of like older TV shows, and I love them so much. But what I realized is that like especially like I'm binge watching How I Met Your Mother right now, and like they're all about finally finding the person to settle down with, and they're in their 30s or even late 20s, you know? And the question came up for me, like, why do we have to have found someone by a certain age? You know, this one person that we're gonna spend the rest of our life with. Um, like, of course, this raises a lot of pressure, and this raises a lot of like, I feel like a failure vibes for the person who thinks that, who says that, because like crossing this miraculous, whatever, elusive line of a certain age, whoever decided that. Um, and after that, you're a failure if you haven't like found the right partner. Maybe something's wrong with me, or what is wrong with me? Or maybe it's not even possible anymore, or whatever. You know, there's a lot of stress involved. And I realized like I was just musing on the topic, you know. Mm, there are two aspects to that. And one is, sure, you can have like legitimately have the desire to just want to be in a partnership. Yes. But that is like actually detached, like time doesn't even fucking matter because you can have this desire whenever, at whatever age. You know, that's a completely like you can have any other desire and you desire to have that now. And being in a partnership is just one of them. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you know, you can have the legit desire to be in a partnership, you know, of whatever kind. Um, Also, of course, if you want to like raise a like have a family and bear a child and raise a child, there's a certain like time aspect attached to it, but out of the box thinking, you don't have to find the one person to spend the rest of your life with just to have a child. I mean, you can you can have a child with your best friend or with a good friend. If you com and I truly believe that if you communicate in a modern way and very clearly and create a very, very safe like surrounding for this child whose parents are not a couple but best friends, it can have the like best of times, you know. It doesn't have to be traumatizing, you know, if you communicate well. I mean, this is like the modern way, and I know it's a long shot, but it is not impossible. So you don't have to like settle with someone just because you want to have a child, but even though this person actually is not really like a long-term person, it doesn't have to be like just to raise a child. I mean, that doesn't really set a good example in my like I cannot think this could is I don't know, it could go wrong. Like if you settle with someone, what example is that about love and settling down and what like everyone has, of course, do your thing. This is just my rambling on. But I believe it's possible to like raise a child with your best friend. I mean, I have literally someone in my family who does exactly that. She's adopted a child, and that's another thing. You don't have to like your body isn't like if it's too late for your body to have a child, there are other ways. I mean, I personally can imagine like at some point being with someone, getting together with someone in my 60s and, you know, having his children now be my stepchildren, whatever. But, you know, someone in my family actually, she adopted a child and she raises her with her best friend. There are so many possibilities and so many options you have. So yeah, so like this is the one aspect of like being in this state where being at a certain age and create wanting to have a partnership, like when you legitimately want to have a partner. And but then the other part is how much of that is like connected to what society thinks or predicts, or not predicts, but implies is the right way, because we've always known that. We see it on television, in movies, like how it's supposed to be. Mm. Like being inspired by How I Met Your Mother. Like it's such a thing that by a certain age you should have found this person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Otherwise, you're a failure. You're a loser. And I'm like, what the fuck? How can this be? How could this have happened? Um, and that's why I said like the whole actually wanting to have a partnership, wanting to have children aside, because that can be like that's different than that. It has nothing to do with time if you don't let it, like if you don't allow it to have to be with time, have something to do with time. But there's so much pressure if we say that by a certain age we have to have found someone to settle down with. Why would we even want to settle down with? I mean, yeah, I guess human beings need safety, but being with someone that isn't the right match anymore at some point is not safe. I can tell you that. So, ending a relationship that isn't good anymore, that is the safe thing sometimes. So, question yourself what really makes you feel safe. Is settling down with someone really the safe thing? Or will it be the safe thing in, 20 years? Give yourself the benefit of a doubt. Um, because why can't relationships, why does there have to be the pressure of forever? And why does there have to be the pressure of having found the forever by a certain age? I'm more of a person, I believe, or I live by this, and this is like one of my values to be with a person that is right for me and I'm right for, as long as it's right for both of us. And maybe this can be 30 years. Maybe it's half a year. But I'm not putting pressure on the connection to be either. It can be anything. It can be as go on as long as it's right. Because if you're scared of losing a relationship, ask yourself when it really comes to the point where it's not a match anymore, where you've drifted apart, where you even working on yourself and on the thing, it's just not working anymore. Is splitting up not really the better thing and the safer feeling thing? Mm, isn't isn't it better to be on your own, open to find someone who's actually a match, than staying with someone you're not happy with? Because being in a relationship that doesn't make you happy, it actually is threatening as fuck, even though we feel like it's the safe thing because we fear being alone. So it's safe to stay, even though it's not making us happy, but it's actually threatening. So it's threatening our happiness, our life force energy. So it is not safe to stay with someone we're not happy with, in this sense. Just something to, like a new perspective kind of thing. Um, Also, like I said, I believe that we all evolve at all times. That's our nature. Mm. So, like finding someone at whatever age, it's always like we both evolve, and maybe it goes on in the same direction. That's good. And I also believe that at each like bump in the road, we get to reevaluate. Is this person still the right fit for me? Am I willing to like work through that? And then yeah, okay, awesome. But if I say, "Oh no, it's not," wow, this is getting so hard. It's just constant challenge and it's just like dragging me down. I've experienced that. Um, and then maybe it just the time has expired for this partnership and it's okay to like go separate ways from there and then find someone else. This is why I don't buy into that having to have found someone by a certain age to go on forever because not always the person you meet at a certain age will be good for you when you will not be good for them until the end. Maybe like when you're 60, there is another person you're a perfect match with, you know? Because who's to say you're gonna find your epic soulmate by a certain age? That's completely ridiculous. That is so fucking ridiculous. But it also leads to us settling for less, settling with people we're good with or even amazing with. But deep down, if we're really being fucking honest with ourselves, we know that it's not like this person that is really, really a good match for us. And thing is, it doesn't mean like we don't have to wait around for this epic person to come along, because I'm currently dating someone and we are being like very committed to each other. I know he's not like a long-term aspiring kind of person for me, but we're good for each other right now. And that's good and that's perfect. So we get to be with people, but we don't have to put the pressure on it to have to be something it's not or to like be forever. Because yeah, if I said, okay, I'm 38. Okay, this is the guy I get along with great. Okay, by now I should have settled. Okay, this is the guy that's there right now. Okay, then this should have to be the one, I should settle with, right? Right? Because it makes sense. We get along. I'm 38 and I should have settled like ages ago. Okay, okay. I would be fucking unhappy by the time this connection is expires because I know it's not long-term aspiring. Like we are not made for this, for each other. We're not made for each other. We're made for each other now in this phase of our lives, but not like long-term aspiring. And that is okay. But it would like it if he had to be that, it would put a lot of pressure, it would put a lot of pressure on me to have to find someone now I would want to spend the rest of my life with. Thing is, I don't even we don't have to find someone who we have to spend the rest of our lives with. It's our fucking choice how long we want to be with someone. If that's your genuine desire because you need the safety in some way or just wired that way, that this like partnership is your aligned state of being. I mean, look in your human design. It's right there. That's fine. But there are other people like me. I don't have like I love connection. I love being with people. I also love being with myself. I'm wired differently and I believe a lot of us are wired in a way that it would be aligned for us to be with someone when it's right and then work through hardship if it feels right or end the relationship if it feels right. But putting this pressure on us to have found someone by a certain age that also has to be the forever person, it it like almost like, okay, it's a safe bet. This is not gonna be like calling for happiness in the long run. And that's not fair to everyone involved, actually. Also, what is that miraculous line by which we should have found someone to settle down with, whatever that means? Is it 30? Is it 38? Is it 25? Is it 16? Because like back in the day, when when humans weren't like getting that old, we it was like earlier. People were married off at 16. Thank God that's over. But like why? Why is it at some point we say, okay, now I'm settling, I have to settle down, right? Because otherwise I'm considered a failure by society, and therefore I think it too. Because if society says I'm a failure by the age of 30 and I haven't settled down yet, I don't have my shit together. Why? Who makes these rules? It's fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. Not sorry. This is fucking bullshit. Um, Also, you know, because I mentioned 16. So this is so I actually had to laugh when I thought of that first, but talking about weird time limits. Like we grow up, we're children playing around. We get like hit puberty at some point. Maybe we have like first experiences with the other gender or the same gender or whatever fuck you're into. Like it doesn't fucking matter here. We're all inclusive anyway. So, um, like whatever you do, like you have first experiences with, I don't know, 16 for me it was 18. Like whatever. Um, and what like we're children, and then we have like let's say a first boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever friend, we have a first partnership. Let's say at 16, we're children, teenagers, first boyfriend, girlfriend, first partnership. Like no one expects this to be the one you have to be forever with because you're still so young. You're still so young. You don't settle like with the first person you're with. Oh my God, your children. No, no, no. That's like there are movies about that as well. That's way too early. You can't like da, da, da. But then at a certain age, like in the future, like let's say even 10 years later, 26, it's a completely different story. Like even though when you have your first boyfriend or girlfriend at the age of 26, no one would say, "Oh no, 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 you don't marry your first partner, yeah. Um, that's way too early. No, you're 26. You should think about settling down." Like all of a sudden it changes. So it has to have something to do with the age. But also, like when you're 16 and you have your first encounter with love, no one you were a child, you were a teenager, then you had your first partnership. And once this breaks up, you're single again. But you were not single before your first boyfriend because then you were just a freaking child. So when are we single again? And when are we still children? Because my very best friend, he had his first girlfriend when he was 14. When I was 14, I was years. I had no interaction with guys for years when I was 14. But by like he's still with his girlfriend, but had they broken up at let's say 15, he would be considered as single again. By the age of 15, I was still a freaking child. I didn't consider myself, oh, I'm single. I would say I'm a child. I want to go play with my cars, you know? But he was like in the dating game at 14. Was he single when he was 13? That sounds so wrong because he was a fucking child. He was still a child when he was in his first relationship. And had he broken up at 15, he still would have been a child, teenager, whatever. You get what I mean. So when are we like just children? And when are we single again? Or when are we single? It doesn't like it's so ridiculous, these labels of being single and settling down, and somehow now it's the right time to settle down. Now it's the wrong time to settle down with your first partner. Like there's it's always connected to random ages and whatever, and it's just fucking bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. But it's so ingrained in our thoughts and our habits and our behavior because it's what we know from fucking movies and television shows. It's like what we like our surrounding our environment. It lives by this. So we live by that until, like, for example, me, and if you hear maybe you too, realized what that it doesn't fucking make sense. Something just what? It doesn't make sense to me, you know? And we start like uncovering these things, um, like that don't make sense, and we realize we've created problems where there don't have to be any fucking problems. There are no problems. Like it is not a problem if I'm not married by the time I'm 30. It does not create a problem, not a legit problem, except if being in a partnership is legitimately what I desire, and I'm nowhere near that. But it does not have anything to do with a certain time or age or what it makes us look like to other people. Like if are we a failure? Are we a loser? You know? Different things. So yeah, I think this is something I want to riff about because I'm all for being in aligned connections, in honoring connections by letting them be what they want to be, what they can be. I'm all about not putting pressure on ourselves or on other people, but on enjoying this dating experience and partnerships and really, really like liberating ourselves from society's expectations, society's ideal thing and rules and all these things, you know, but really like taking a look, you know, really looking at what we have here and really, you know, untying the threads that we're just tied to because we like live in this society. Mm, and really like look inside and and see what's really aligned for ourselves. And it takes a lot of inner work. It takes a lot of uncovering who we really are. It takes a lot of shedding past experiences, trauma, whatever, you know, all the things. It takes a lot. But, and you can choose. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But I think if you're here, chances are you realize there's something and I want to have like a fuller experience because once this spark has ignited, there's no going back. There's no going back to the old ways. So there's only forward, and it's a process, it's a journey, but it's so liberating, and it promises deeply felt experiences of life with other people and especially with yourself. Because the more you work on yourself, you take a look at what you really, really want and what you really want, independent of what other people say, of what you're used to, of what you've seen in society and stuff. But what you really want and what your needs are, what your energetics are, how you take, what is really, really good for you, and what you really want, your values. The more you do that, like, and the more you shed your negative experiences, negative quote unquote, obviously, but what you've experienced that wasn't like so good, so nice, you know what I mean? The more you shed trauma and everything, um, the better you get to know yourself. And this strengthens the one and only relationship that is the most important in your life, and that's the relationship to yourself. Because you can never be alone then, because you always have yourself, your best friend, your home, your partner, the one you can confide in, you just someone you feel at home with. And it's a process, but it's so rewarding. And from this point, we can reach out and connect to other people, because we know who we are, and we know what we want. So yeah, that's that on pressure and times and ages and society's expectations.